Are you ready to begin?
Stepping up, they know they want this fight. Big Sundering catches Li Ming, and she is down fast.
As these two teams out of CEs are just punching each other in the mouth right now.
Purification salvo, Ring of Frost. This is a bloodbath.
Can they get the core though? 22%.
And that is a triple kill.
Might be the end of it. That is it.
Well,
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Nexus Gaming Series. I am Jayzon, and we have our Monday Night Showdown coming at you super fast here. We've got a C East matchup here between Calculated Throw and Almost Legends, and I am joined by a legendary caster upcoming, Ziltoid, one of our newer casters, and of course, Ysera is going to be all over the place tonight. She's excited, I'm excited. How are you feeling, Ziltoid?
Rushed, pained, but ready to go. I'm excited to see how this match is going, and yeah, I really want to get into it.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and give the readies over to our team captains. They already have this lobby set up and ready to go. We have Infernal Shrines is going to be our first map tonight. And these guys have been patiently waiting for us to get everything rolling here, so I'm expecting them to be ready here soon. But let's talk for a second about Infernal Shrines. Definitely one of our more popular maps here in the Nexus Gaming Series. Very wave clear heavy map. And what do you expect to see here from these teams, Ziltoid?
They're actually both pretty competitive. Almost Legends obviously is still contesting for near the top of the standings, so I do expect it to be pretty close in a lot of manners. Calculated Throw has had some moments of greatness and had some moments of not so greatness, so if they can start cleaning up their play, I expect to see a pretty competitive match here tonight.
All right, well, then we go to game number one. Infernal Shrines, first pick, first ban. Gonna go over to Calculated Throw on the left, Almost Legends on the right with their map pick here. So we see a lot of bans prioritized pretty meta, I think, on this map. You know, occasionally you'll see a wave clear hero banned out like a Gul'dan or a Kael'thas, but in general it seems pretty standard with the Johanna, Anubarak, Diablos being banned out, and strong healers like Ana or Tyrande.
Yeah, I think the tank meta is very specific, and they make a lot of plays currently as things go. So I do think that we want to see either bans that eliminate other things and leave the tank picks up for either side, or just target ban some of those really impactful tanks like Diablo and Nubrak, and we get a Kael'thas first ban.
All right,
and
so there it is, the Anubarak on the other side. And yeah, Kael'thas, you know, really strong, particularly in the lower divisions. You know, when you get to that higher tier play where teams are good about spreading out and not spreading that living bomb, you see him banned a little bit less, but he gets a little extra value on this map in particular because of his shrine clear.
Yeah, Ana is also a very powerful, like, the anti-heals I think are a big deal.
Yeah, and Ana going to come in with the huge grenade build if they were to let it through, but Calculated Throw saying no thank you. And I think now, especially now that Eye of Horus is back in, that talent adjustment has been just so very powerful for her. So not surprised to see her banned out early. And Diablo also going to be banned out. So Almost Legends prioritizing the tank bans here. Interesting, though, not banning out the namesake for Calculated Throw. Garrosh going to make it through the beginning of this ban phase.
I do think that the Diablo and Anubarak just tend to be, especially on Infernal Shrines, tend to just be the scarier tanks. So, you know, you got to make a choice which one you want to deal with. But they're going to go for the Johanna anyways. So, very solid frontliner. We see it a lot. It's kind of like it's like the best tank that can actually be picked that isn't banned in most situations. So, I'm not too sad about them doing that.
Yeah, and we're going to see the Gul'dan and Alex Straza coming out in response. So good wave clear hero from Gul'dan, and I like that both teams are kind of responding to each other's bans. Kael'thas, one of the best wave clear mages, banned out, so Almost Legends picking up the Gul'dan in response. Meanwhile, 2 strong meta tanks picked up or banned out by Almost Legends, so Calculated Throw going to pick up the Johanna in response.
Yeah, EMSA's also really good on the Gul'dan. You know, so they went for the Shrine Control. Deckard's going to be really good into Alexstrasza with Emerald, so I'm not surprised to actually see him come up. He may not have the burst healing, but at the moment, what they're showing in damage from the side of Almost Legends doesn't really make him too scared of burst damage at this moment, because Gul'dan doesn't really do that. So, and then Thrall probably off lane. I'm going to assume. I think that's their off laner on it at the moment. You know, he's going to be great on the flanks and really good for picking off low health hit point heroes with a lot of upfront damage.
Yeah, really strong front line already from Calculated Throw. They're going to go ahead and ban out the ETC. Of course, a great zoning hero on this map. Also just brings a lot of good CC. And with so many tanks off the board right now, Calculated Throw just looking to kind of choke that option out. But we're also going to see Deckard for Calculated Throw. It should be pretty interesting, you know, especially if he can get set up early with his potions onto these points. Can be a really good response to the way this map objective works, but Alexstrasza also with that Dragon Queen can be very powerful in terms of tools of taking the shrine.
I like the ETC ban from Calculated Throw because they're just really limiting the amount of frontliners that they can bring out. But Arthas does do well on this shrine. Again, you're kind of forced into the objective fights, and so since that is the case, he's going to give you added shrine control. And deals a lot of damage for a frontliner as well, too, which I think is one of those things that kind of gets underestimated, but it definitely kicks in. And now we get Jaina Raynor, a classic backline combination. I mean, basically, if you have one, you probably want the other, as there's a ton of synergy, and that's going to be a ton of poke damage coming in from the side.
Yeah, great combo there. But also a great combo in Arthas and Greymane. You know, one of the big counters to Greymane is slows, especially in the face of like Arthas with that slowing aura he's got. But and the Blaze as well on that front line, being able to slow Greymane as he jumps in and does a bunch of damage. But now with them on his squad, those counters are not going to be available, and really the only counter on the other side is the slows from Jaina and Johanna with those blinds.
I like the Blaze pickup. It gives you that added bit of safety, especially if Greymane's diving in. The best thing you can have when he's taking a bunch of counter damage is to have that bunker right then and there. Plus, the Blaze's stun is so powerful. And on this map, everyone is generally grouped up really, really well. So I couldn't really tell you which one is going to be a superior draft. I like both, actually. They both have their elements. I think Shrine Control definitely goes to the side of Almost Legends. But the general team fight is pretty scary from the side of Calculated Throw.
Yeah, I think ultimately this is going to come down to execution. I don't think either team has necessarily a superior draft. I think, you know, both teams have good synergy between their picks. And I think it's going to come down to which one is more on the same page in this matchup. And of course, both these teams, very impressive seasons put on so far from Division C East. And here as we enter the first match in the final week of play for Division C, we're going to see how these teams can fare against each other. As we load into game number 1 on the left, we're going to have Calculated Throw. We've got Team Captain Mystic playing the Jaina. Mona Derp going to be playing the Raynor. Grievant going to be playing the Deckard. Scooty Puff Jr. on the Thrall. And Scooterman going to be on the Johanna.
And on the right side, we have Almost Legends in the red, Bellolos on the Arthas, Hoedown on the Greymane, EMSA on the Gul'dan, Tribulation on the Blaze, and rounding it all off, Born to Shine on the Alexstrasza.
All right, both teams look like they're going to basically just rotate here to the mid, have our customary 5v5, as the B-Step's throwing out nice and early here from Grievant. But looks like both teams are going to play this pretty passive. Good wave clear on both sides, so it looks like they're just both mainly saving it for the wave as they come in. Root early onto Mystic, but no follow-up there available. And immediately, the members of Almost Legends going to rotate out the lane.
Yeah, just a little bit of poke, just a little bit of early stuff. Not much happening yet now. We got a little bit of a priority rotation from Greymane. He does come down here and clear it all out. Looks like there was one minion missed, but that's not the end of the world.
Yeah, meanwhile, up in the top, we're going to have Thrall versus Blaze. Both heroes with pretty good self-sustain and wave clear, so probably won't see too much gained on either side unless we see a rotation. But in the mid, both teams going to crash back into the mid lane. Decent amount of damage coming down onto Balalos, but he's going to back out and be okay for the next rotation down to bot.
Yeah, Arthur just shrugs it off and says, "What?" We'll see if we see any camp priorities, and we do actually see Almost Legends starting their camp on the other side of the map. While Calculated Throw just kind of continues to do their mid-top rotation. You know, they definitely had a window. They are going to grab their camp now, and we'll see if Almost Legends wants to aggress themselves, or if they're also just going to keep doing the rotation, maybe rotate into the mid and see if they can get some push with the goats. I do think the goats are kind of garbo. They don't do a whole lot without assistance, and you don't have like a Sylvanas or anything on the map here. So, you know, I think clearing it up for the experience and getting a little bit extra lane pressure is more than worthy enough.
So any of these talents sticking out for you early as kind of off-meta picks, or pretty much standard across the board look like to you?
We do see Rhyme from Arthas, which is nice. It's good into the Thrall and the Rainer. We see Q build, so not going for the W build from Alex Straza. And that's about it. Everything else, Conviction is also interesting. I usually see Sins exposed there, but that's also... But I think it's a little bit both way, and I don't play tank, so what do I know?
Well, there we go. That's always my approach on it. You know, if I don't know the hero, I'll go ahead and see how it goes. Maybe I'll learn something from these guys. But we do see the first shrine popping here in the bot lane. It is going to be the bot lane shrine. So we'll have to see which teams want to prioritize the rotation to it. It looks like early Calculated Throw going to look to pick up their camp up in the top to have a little bit of counter pressure here in the top while the teams fight over the objective here in the bot.
Yeah, still pretty passive early game, but I do like the camp pickup from the side of Calculated Throw. They timed that out pretty nicely, but the issue here is Almost Legends, if they get any type of lead here on the shrines, it's going to be very difficult for Calculated Throw to get in here and cause any ruckus. But we see nice root go down on two. The frontliners kind of getting stuck in their bellows, getting very low. And then we see a little bit of counter damage coming onto the Thrall. He was trying to pressure that Greymane and got quite a bit done. But the Dragon Queen does come out, and they do push them off. It looks like they're going to secure this shrine. They just need to back off and not die, and this should be in the bag. And that's the danger of allowing... Oh, Belalos is going to go down, though. Nice, well done by Monoderp.
Yeah, Calculated Throw coming in a little bit too late to be able to steal this away, especially with the Dragon Queen and the extra clear that gives you onto these shrines. But it is just one kill for Calculated Throw. Almost Legends does pick up the Mortar Punisher. Going to try and follow it up with a little bit of damage, but very nice defense, very nice clear by Calculated Throw, and they're only going to lose their front fence here on the bottom lane.
There wasn't a ton of siege coming out from the side of Almost Legends on that. Like, most people feel like the first objectives don't do a whole lot, and it actually almost looked like that camp in the top lane got more work done. So they did walk away with a kill and a camp, and I think in the end, despite the objective going to the side of Almost Legends, you could probably say that was a bit of a win for the side of Calculated Throw. And they do catch Belalos out, and his mobility is being abused here very hard, and he is going to go down. And that's going to be another death for the frontliner Arthas, and that's going to be a free camp for the side of Calculated Throw.
Yeah, Calculated Throw really on the same page right now. Looks like they're all reading from the same playbook in this one so far. Meanwhile, Almost Legends maybe a little bit spread out, you know, trying to soak all these different lanes, trying to see if they can, you know, ward and zone. But ultimately, when you got that four-man rolling in and you got such a strong kill combo as the Rainer Jaina on the other side, it could be a little bit treacherous. It could be a little bit dangerous to rotate around these lanes alone.
Yeah, I'm going to make a note. There is a weird talent now. Maelstrom weapon coming out from Thrall at level 7. I don't see that very often.
All right. So finally we get something a little bit different here. But Monoderp taking a ton of damage from Hoedown and Emsa. We'll get that last second potion tossed in there from Bereavement. and that's going to be able to keep him alive for the moment. But Almost Legends answering with a nice bit of damage on their own, and they're going to look to grab this camp in the bottom as their prize.
It's still a pretty slow clear, so they could still get rotated on here, but it doesn't look like they're going to aggress too hard in here from the side of Calculated Throw. So yeah, free camp. They're just going to come in there, walk in. Calculated Throw wants nothing of it until 10s. Though neither team is really going to win the race to 10 like hard in any, huge ways. So I felt like they could have been a little bit more aggressive there.
Yeah, next shrine is showing to be in the mid lane, so we're going to see both teams having level 10 well before that point. Camp is going to be picked up in the top right by Almost Legends, so we'll have to see if these guys want to hold it, or maybe want to pop it and try and push a little bit in the top, how they want to try to utilize this camp.
Yeah, I mean, it was up, so they're going to get it, and it should push. It is, it is easier to clear rather than being in the bottom lane, but it's still, once everything is committed onto the shrine, and the fact that they also have probably the advantage in the shrine clear, that camp could get a lot of pressure. And I like the fact that Blaze is prepping this too as well by clearing that lane up, grabbing that little bit of extra experience while they've got the time. That's going to force a response from Calculated Throw to come up here. But Greymane out on an island all by himself, and Showdown is going to go down. I'm not entirely sure what he was doing in Africa, but he's sure missing the reins at this moment.
Yeah, no bless on those reins for Greymane. We do see the Blessed Shield used, so just one of those heroics pop. Still a lot of resources available for Calculated Throw. In they go. The ring is going to grab 2, along with the Searing Flame in from the top. Johanna going to get credit for that kill onto the Blaze. The stagger is real now for Almost Legends, as Born to Shine going to pop on down out of that ult. And we're going to see a big advantage here for Calculated Throw. Not only did they have time to clear up in the top lane off the heels of that pick, but now they're getting even more here as they go onto the shrine.
I mean, Greymane was dead. They were kind of an uncompromised position there once the engagement came in, and the ults are up, so they definitely can hard engage with that Blessed Shield. Good fear, though. I think Brawl might be in a bit of a problem, but there's still not quite enough damage. Greymane wasn't in position to get any push onto that, but Mona Derp was also a little bit exposed, and he does get hit by the combustion with the follow-up damage coming from Greymane. So we do get 35 and a wonderful stun getting on 2. That's going to be 2, 3, 4 dead on the side of Calculated Throw. They have 39. And I don't think Jaina can pop in here and get that last little minion. It might try, though. Mystic is looking to see if he can play with the vision and get around there, but and he's gonna get it! He got it!
There it is! Mystic playing the part of the wizard that he loves to portray in these games, sneaking around the back door, gonna steal himself the Arcane Punisher, and much like last time, we're gonna see that this Punisher is not gonna get a whole lot of value, but that's a huge moment there for Calculated Throw. They lose the team fight after what it was almost seemingly impossible comeback on that shrine from Almost Legends, and that denies what could have been a very, very big turning point here in this match for Calculated Throw.
Yeah, it pretty much negates that team wipe they had on the shrine and puts it back to almost dead even again. This is definitely ramping up to be a pretty exciting game so far.
Yeah, 4-4 on the kill count. About a half-level lead or so here for Almost Legends. And up in the top, Scooty Puff Jr. is just kind of pushing in on Tribulation, but nothing really to write home about. If he can get that well, though, that'll be a nice advantage as they go into the next Shrine phase, which will be up in this top lane.
So we do have Greymane taking Wizened Duelist, which is a very high-risk, high-reward.
Uh-oh.
And Unfettered Assault, which are all very, these are not common talents that you see taken by a lot of Greymanes. So it's definitely a win more, and I'm hoping to see if he can get some good value out of that.
Showdown with the Escape Artist moves there in the mid. I thought for sure that was going to be a pick there, but didn't want to lose those Wizened Duelist stacks, so was able to go into wolf form, jump around, and make it on out of there in the mid.
Yeah, he has thick skin. He didn't take the invisibility. I almost would have gone for the invisibility if I was doing Wizened Duelist. Just just to make sure you had that extra bit of you can't hit me kind of mechanic. But definitely making sure that the armor gets some value, and there is quite a bit of auto attack damage coming up from the other side. So, I think it worked out for him in that situation.
Yeah, we never actually went over these level 10 talents, so let's take a look real quick. For Calculated Throw, we've got the Ring of Frost, Stay a While and Listen, Blessed Shield, Earthquake, and the Hyperion coming out. And for Almost Legends, looks like they're going for Go for the Throat, Horrify, Army of the Dead, and the Combustion, along with that Cleansing Flame.
I think the Cleansing Flame is an adjustment to the Emerald, which I think is a good adjustment. You see Thrall getting pressured here in the top lane. I think he's going to go down. Yeah, 5-mana rotation, trying to pressure up this camp to get some extra value out of it. I like this play because if you're going to take this before the objective, especially since it's in the top lane, pushing up with it is definitely going to make sure you net a lot more value. And Thrall, thinking he was safe, definitely got himself into a lot more trouble up there. So getting a wall and a pick, and possibly even a well, if they get that well, it's going to be a tough fight up here in the top lane for Calculated Throw, especially since 16 is right on the horizon for Almost Legends.
Yeah, that's the big gain here for Almost Legends. The extra XP they got from that push and that kill. They're going to get 16 here from Trickle. They even out the top lane in terms of having their well, as the Almost Legends had lost their well to Thrall earlier, but the pick on the other side, they turn that around and open up the fort. So now whoever wins this is going to get a pretty nice push value with the wall already being down in the top lane on both sides.
We do see a pretty significant lead from Almost Legends. But Bellolos is in a bit of a bind at the moment. We better see Cleansing Flame come down here. He's going to go down. We see a great Fear coming out, though, and there is a very isolated Johanna, but it is Johanna, so he just tanks through it. Great Ring of Frost as the counter, basically kills both frontliners for the side of Almost Legends. And what looked like a really good start to the fight for Almost Legends turned really hard on them. Those Ring of Frost combos have just been winning fights.
I gotta give the MVP in that fight to Greven. He turns around, hits just the most massive Stay a While and Listen I've ever seen, setting it up for Mystic. What a Ring of Frost combo, like you said. And even taking the fight down 16, they were able to win that, and they're going to be able to take the Frozen Punisher up here in the top lane off that big win.
Yeah, lots of damage coming through from the side. We do see, in more sustained fights, if positioning is a little bit better, I can see these fights. That Horrify was still really good, but unfortunately it hit mostly frontliners, and the focus fire wasn't there for them to drop anyone off of it. And so, like you said, the Stale One Listen plus the Ring of Frost after the fact definitely just turned the fight hard on its head. But we're going to see a nice hard push. I think they're going to see if they can get a keep here. It is a Frozen Punisher, so it's definitely one of the better ones to try to siege with. We see the front wall going, I like the focus fire onto the bot wall, trying to get around the side there. And Tribulation goes in pretty deep. He does get followed up with a Stay a While and Listen. EMSA almost walks right back into it, but they still managed to kill it. The Ring of Frost only managed to land onto Arthas, and he's still alive. What a stun from Tribulation with the combustion. He might actually manage to turn this fight around, and these guys are just slugging each other back and forth, just trading blows, and what a defense.
Monday Night Showdown madness here between these two teams. It has been a seesaw of a matchup. What a defense there from Almost Legends. They were on the verge of losing their keep up in the top lane. They come back from what was a terrible team fight just a moment ago. Same combo came out from Calculated Throw with the Stay a While and Listen and Ring of Frost, but Almost Legends just were not having it this time, Ziltoid.
Yeah, I'm going to give that one to Tribulation. He identified that he could get in there and land just this monster combustion, and that they were low enough to be able to actually get that fight, and he made the play. And I like people when they can see those and they just go for it, because that's what happens when you do. It nets you a value, and what could have been a keep, especially after the Gul'dan died, ended up becoming a 2-for-1 trade, and they're back in this game.
Yeah, nice rotation out there in the bot lane from Thrall. Took the long way around to avoid the rotation from Almost Legends. Both teams definitely hitting their stride right now, I think, as they go into this late game. Nobody wants to be caught out alone. Here comes Scooter Man coming in, though, with the Condemn, looking to try and set somebody up. Naked Ring coming out, only going to catch Arthas, but the Horrifying response is huge. Born to Shine going to go ahead and pop the Dragon Queen. Stay a while and listen, trying to halt the advance of Almost Legends, but it's not going to be enough. 1-for-1 trade, though, right now, as Blaze and Johanna trade out. It looks like both teams are going to go ahead and walk away, but all of the cooldowns popped from both squads there. So it'll be interesting to see what is left from these teams to be able to fight for this next objective in the mid.
Yeah, that was a pretty messy fight. We've seen an invasion coming in from Bellalos. He's pretty low on his mana. They better find a cat here really quick. Looks like Reven isn't bit, but hey, Showdown is diving towers for that, and he actually gets the kill. What an invade. I think he's getting a little ahead of himself there, though. He almost died. That Rainer just needed one more auto attack, but Scooty Puff Jr. is going to die from the corruption stack. And that's 3 for 1. What a play from the side of Almost Legends. They were like, well, gas pedal, we're not letting off. We're going to push up here. We're going to get this camp. And, I mean, that's as good as it gets. You get 2 more kills and a camp. That's just what you want.
As good as it gets for Almost Legends, but also that's one of the worst feels bad man moments for Calculated Throw. When you are sitting there, your health bar is all green, you hit the tap, and you know it's going to be just a hair either way, but does end up picking up the kill on the Thrall. And I don't know, fortune favors the bold, Ziltoid, as we saw Greymane just doing so much work there with that jump in. Hoedown able to get the job done with the help of that poison damage from EMSA.
I mean, he would have been, I think, happy if he'd even died there. He'd have been all right with it. But
willing to trade.
He still managed to somehow make it out, and now we see 20 on the objective, and I think Dragon Queen is back up, or at least close to being back up and ready to go. So this is going to be a hard fight, but we do have 20. So Calculated Throw, we do see Fear, and look at Decker Kane. He's on a bit of an island, but the counter damage coming out on Bellalos is pretty good, but at the same time, he's got Army of the Dead up, so he's just going to heal through it. What a Ring of Frost, hits both frontliners plus EMSA, and that's actually going to turn that fight around. Every single time I think Almost Legends is going to get an advantage in these fights, out comes the Ring of Frost combo, and 2 or 3 people die. And all of these shrine fights, which is the beginning of the game I was going to give to Almost Legends, were going to win. They've just been losing all of these late game fights.
Well, I mean, it's simpler than that, Ziltoid. It was Calculated Throw's turn to win a team fight. I mean, it's just going back and forth here. 1 to 3 in the mid for Almost Legends. Then we're going to go ahead and do a 1 for 3 in favor of Calculated Throw. They're just happen to be winning the odd number team fights the last couple of times that get him the Punisher.
Well, those are the team fights you want to be winning, I think.
Exactly. They're taking a bit advantage, but there is still that camp pushing in the top lane. So top fort goes down, and top keep going to take a little bit of pressure here. Meanwhile, big wave pushing in the bot lane. So Almost Legends have a couple of things pushing on the side of their own here, as the Mortar Punisher are going to be pushing in onto the mid keep.
It is a Mortar Punisher, which means it's pretty weak, but it is a 20-minute Punisher, so this should be a dead keep. I'm not positive about coring here, especially since Decker Kane is still split away, and all of the death timers are up for the side of Almost Legends. So they're just going to take the keep. They got an easy disengage here because that Punisher still has an absolute massive amount of health on it. So it's just going to easy rotation. I'd like to see someone get top, though, before they lose a keep on the other side, because that's a pretty healthy camp still, and a pretty big wave.
Yeah, and these Shaman camps are so strong at the sieging capabilities. We are going to see Scooty Puff Jr. rotating up here. He should be able to take care of this before the keep goes down, but it's still going to take quite a lot of damage here.
So slight structure advantage for the side of Calculated Throw, but I think 21 to 21, 12 to 11 kills, this is still very much anyone's game. We see the Stay a While and Listen going down in both frontliners plus the Ring of Frost, but it gets cleansed out? He self-cleansed himself out. Okay, got it. Combustion does land on 2, and I think Scooter Man is going to go down here, but he does have Indestructible, so he just turns it around, and instead it's actually Blaze that dies. And we see all this damage coming in from Hoedown, but he just doesn't have the sustain to stay alive. And all of that just massive baits coming out from Scooter Man there, who I thought was sure going to die. Procs Indestructible, heals about 5 more health bars. They get a 4 for nothing trade, and I think this is the end of the game.
Yeah, up through the mid goes calculated throw. They broke the rules. They won 2 team fights in a row. But I think that's going to end up taking them to the win here in game number 1. But I got to tell you, Ziltoid, if this is just game number 1 in this best of 3 series, what else are we going to see here in this matchup?
Hopefully 3 games, at least for our sake. I know they want 2-0s, but I don't care. Almost Legends, clean it up and bring it back. But calculated throw was definitely firing on all cylinders when it came down to the objective in the team fight. And they were making sure that and Scooterman there was just baiting out so many cooldowns, and that's what you want with the Johanna. Johanna is all about just eating the CC, eating the upfront damage, surviving through it, and giving her team all the time they need to set up those wombo combos and get the counter damage out. And I think that's what we saw time and again in that game. But look at those Thrall stats, and that build was insane. It was so, it was just a full-on Windrunner build.
Yeah, very interesting build. Also, the earthquakes were pretty massive there. I think it's kind of a subtle point to the team fights that you don't normally, really notice a whole lot, but all of that extra slow for Raynor to be able to proc his damage off of Ace in the Hole. Of course, Jaina loves people that are slow, makes them nice and easy to hit with all of those different abilities. Pretty standard build coming out from Mystic there, but it's like you said, the stat sheet says it all. 62k damage coming in from Thrall, and then Raynor's damage boost up as well. 51k for both Jaina and Raynor there. So just a ton of damage, especially down the stretch there for calculated throw as they win here in game number 1.
Yeah, and I think that anti-healing also had some sneaky value there because Arthas wasn't able to live through as much that he probably should have with his Army of the Dead, and I think a lot of that had to do with the emeralds that were being cast. Just all around very good play from everybody.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get on in, get ready for game number 2. If you are Almost Legends, what adjustments are you trying to make here in this matchup to try and make a bit of difference here for yourself and try and pick up a win here in game 2?
I'd like to see a little bit of more engagement. I think Arthas cost them a little bit because he wasn't able to lock down anyone long enough for that the Gul'dan and Greymane to really get in there and get the job done. And I feel like the Greymane was also just struggling to find opportunities to really get good burst damage out to kill anybody. So I think they just need to get a little bit more on the same page. And I think prioritizing a strong front line, maybe leave the tanks up so that they can at least get one of those options like a Noobrak, because Belalos is a really strong player on things like a Noob or Diablo. And like even said, Garrosh was totally still up. I'd love to see him pick that up and use that against them, because I think given their play style, they might have been able to make a little bit more happen.
Yeah, I mean, we said before the match started that it seemed like both teams had a really strong draft, but I think you make a good point there. I think calculated throw mainly won the tank battle and getting Johanna, getting a really strong meta tank, where maybe that's where Almost Legends, their comp wasn't quite as strong, and it seemed like they took advantage of that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I didn't mind the DPS. Alexstrasza is always kind of like one of those, if you're winning the objectives, it feels really strong on Infernal Shrines, but if you're not winning the objectives, it lacks that extra bit of sustain that even Deckard was doing a better job at overall.
Yeah, and Deckard can be very difficult to deal with, especially in the late game when he starts getting those upgraded potions and the endless potions at 20. It could just be so hard to deal with, but a lot of those stay in while and listens were really, really big. I think one of them got interrupted near one of those last team fights, and it looked like it was going south, but it was kind of a late turn from calculated throw. But boy, when they had that combo up with Ring of Frost, that was just scary to watch from calculated throw that game.
Yeah, they had really good synergy on that wombo, and they understood how to kind of use it. They were able to bait in a lot of positioning from the side of Almost Legends, and then they executed the combo. If Almost Legends doesn't take the bait, and that's the thing, they were trying really hard to get those engagements, but with the tools that they had, the engagements are somewhat predictable. So because they were able to be kited back by the backline, which is Rainer and Jaina, and then they just waited for them to get into bad positioning, and then they just dropped the combo, and that almost turned every single fight we saw there.
Yeah, so now going into game number 2, looks like we're going to move on to Dragonshire. So another pretty rotational heavy map, but this one, of course, the map objective a little bit different. It's very continuous, very based on, you know, when you can get an advantage, when you can push an advantage, and try and use it to cap. And we see a lot of teams not even prioritize trying to get the dragon here, but instead trying to put pressure on pushing lanes, looking to take the camps and rotate and push with those, and just in general looking for good team fight skills here.
Well, as you know, Jason, this is a map that me and my team really like to play a lot. And what it really does is it tests your macro and your ability to make decisions on the map. Because if you overcommit to the objective, especially in the early game, quite oftentimes you're going to find yourself losing in other aspects on the map. So what I'd really like to see is some really good macro focus from both sides. Don't try to push the envelope too hard. Play the game, play patient, find their win conditions, and see if they can manipulate the enemy team into doing what they want to do on the map.
All right, so going into game number 2 here. First pick, first ban, going to go over to Almost Legends. So looks like once again they're going to go ahead and prioritize the tank bans, but the difference this time is they get first pick of the litter of whatever's left to tank. So we'll have to see if they want to try to adjust their drafting style to pick up a tank a little bit earlier here.
Yeah. I mean, again, if you got first pick, I would like to threaten the Anubrek, make them ban it. It's such a strong hero, but I guess if Belalos just isn't feeling it or they have a different strategy in mind, I can totally understand the ban. If you're not taking it first, you might as well ban it. The Haka being banned out from the side of Calculated Throw. Dahaka is really good at what I was talking about, which is that map manipulation. It gives you camp priority on this map, so it becomes much more dangerous to even take siege camps on your side of the map because you don't know if they're going to get a dig, and then all of a sudden you're in big trouble.
Yeah, I like that ban out on the global hero. Very dangerous on this map. Kind of a pseudo global hero with the Asmodan ban from Almost Legends. He's got that extra little bit of wave clear from far lanes, but look at the Rexar here. First pick for Almost Legends, so immediately going to one of the toughest heroes to deal with up in that top lane, Rexar.
There's not a lot of answers to the bear duo. I always think Rexar looks like bear as well, so I think they're just bear brothers. Anyways, well, I guess siblings, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, Rexar makes it really tough. Thrall is actually one of those heroes that can pressure it pretty well. And if he goes that Maelstrom weapon build again, that might actually play into an okay trade for him. It might be interesting because it puts a lot of extra damage into those auto attacks. And as long as he's getting roots onto it, I'd also like to see if he goes for the Frostwolf build at level 4. Because might be able to pressure the Rexar. Anyways, I talked about it too long. They also pick up Diablo, very strong front line for the side of Calculated Throw.
Well, I mean, Zeltoid, you're an analyst. That's what you like to do. You like to go deep dive into these things. But Diablo picked up. On the other side, we've got Ana ETC. So this time, Belalos going to go ahead and pick up that ETC before Calculated Throw can ban it away. Ana, of course, a very strong hero in the current meta. So I think right now, Almost Legends looks like they're getting most of what they want here in the first half of this draft.
It definitely looks like they came in with a plan, and I like ETC on this map. I know he's not considered like top meta, but I think he's a little underrated at the moment. Your team runs it a lot, and I know there's reasons for that. And a good portion on this map is that it controls those rotations so well in the bushes. Like, he's got so many ways to detect people, to peel people, and to get nice picks on this map.
Yeah, Jaina going to be banned out here for Almost Legends. I don't want to see Mystic back on that hero this game.
All 3 mages that are major meta right now, outside of Li Ming, it's all gone.
And there's Li Ming. So, you know, Wave of Force, good counter to the ETC. But one thing I'm going to be very interested to see here is Grievant on this Lucio. New reworked Lucio available for the first time about a week ago. So we haven't seen a whole lot of him yet. What do you think of new Lucio right now, Zeltoid?
I think he's really strong. He does a lot of damage for support. And that's one of those things that's really, really nice to have. Orphea Zul'jin is a solid backline. They have decent wave clear with Orphea, and Zul'jin is not bad at taking camps and pressuring heroes. We have a lack of wave clear coming out from the side of Calculated Throw at the moment, so I'd like to see what they fill up. I love the Valera pickup, though. That's fantastic. I've been waiting for this hero to come out. I've been playing Valera a ton recently, and I've just been enjoying the hero a lot. She's super underrated and absolutely needs to be in more games. I don't know. The wave clear is still a little bit of an issue, but her camping and wave clear is actually underrated. So I really like Calculated Throw's draft, especially into an Ana. Valera becomes just an absolute pain in the butt to deal with.
The other thing you have to mention about this, though, Ziltoid, is that the Valera is thought of as an amazing counter to the Rexar. Good ability to sneakily rotate up to the top lane, get some CC onto that Rexar, and allow the solo laner to help you grab those kills in that isolated scenario and not even have to worry about the bear. So I think that might just be a direct answer to the Rexar here.
It might be. Scooty Puff is their offlaner, so I'm assuming Thrall will be up there, but we should be seeing Valera rotations. And I'd like to... what you're describing is perfect. I'd really like to see them do that. I'd like to see Valera make those aggressive rotations and try to pick off that Rexar, because that'll give them pressure on the rest of the map. And again, the more you can manipulate the map into your favor, the better off you'll be on this map. It's not all about securing the Dragon Knight.
All right, well, let's get on into game number 2 here on the left. Up 1-0 here in this series. We've got Calculated Throw. Scooty Puff Jr. going to be playing the Thrall. We've got Grievant on the Lucio. Mystic playing Valera. Monoderp going to be on the Li Ming. And Scooterman going to be on Diablo.
And on the red side, we have Tribulation on the Rexar, or sorry, the Misha. Bellalos playing ETC, Hoedown on the Zul'jin, Born to Shine playing Ana, and Emsa on the last mage left, Orphea.
The last mage. All right, so we are going to see both teams rotating their 5 to the mid. What I love to call WrestleMania here in the mid.
Yeah. Is that the last of the magicians?
The last melon. No, but let's get Scooterman.
Oh,
Scooterman
man,
going down, shredded by the combination of damage from Hoedown and also, you know, the Orphea damage just massive there. But I don't know, Hoedown with these axes, he's going to be throwing out a lot of damage that Calculated Throw is not going to want to walk into here.
Yeah, the anti-heal is also a big factor there, and because of Lucio's changes, though, your team can't rely as heavily on his ability to boost speed you out of places. So, you know, Diablo still has to be pretty careful, especially in the early game. He does lack mobility, and any team that understands that can really abuse that. Mystic, of course, is probably in a bit of trouble. Valera's early game is not great. She doesn't really become a big powerhouse until she starts getting talents, basically level 4, 7, and 10. I hope to see Cloak of Shadows. If we see that, you're going to see Valera getting out of the craziest situations.
So right away, we are going to see a 2-0 start here in favor of Almost Legends. They want a game 3, I think even worse than we do here in this matchup, but we're going to see Monoderp doing a nice job of zoning back Born to Shine. Emsa and Bellalos, though, are on the rotation, and Monoderp going to go ahead and nope on out of that situation.
Yeah, and we see, Thrall's going to struggle to deal with Rexar. Again, it's very talent dependent. So because he's not going to be able to hard win that upper lane, I'd like to see some adjustments from Calculated Throw here. They do have a mid, they are trying to make sure they're getting the mid soak, but they're not going to be able to deal with the 4-man here. So I honestly would prefer to see Valera sharking top to see if they can get some pressure in another lane, because they're just never going to win this 4-man at the current status. Bellalos getting a little bit isolated out, but there wasn't a stun follow-up there, so he's definitely not going to drop too low in this situation. And I just don't think that Diablo is going to be able to trade long enough into Zul'jin to just to keep him off of that. We might see an early Dragon Knight for the side, but we do see Valera. She is rotating up here. She might be able to pick him out. Nice job on the stun. I think he's dead. I think so. Yeah, okay.
He dies right about the same time the grenade popped. It almost looked like Born to Shine killed him with that grenade, but we know that that's not the case. Meanwhile,
it was a close thing. It was a close thing. So that's the thing. If Calculated Throw starts utilizing this Valera all over the map and just roam around and find isolated targets to pick off in the early game, we're going to start seeing this game turn a bit. The pressure should start turning around for them.
Meanwhile, we will see Scooter Man trying to go in maybe a little bit deep here. Not really respecting the CC that Valalos can throw out. And EMSA trying to deal damage on the backside, but it is a 3v3 here with some healing coming out from Grievement. Scooter Man's going to be okay, and they're going to recap the bot here to stall for that potential mid-cap from Hoedown.
I'm really enjoying EMSA's play on the Orphea. He's been doing a really good job of making that he's trading efficiently and not taking a lot of counter damage, which is, if you're able to do that with Orphea, it becomes an absolute pain in the butt to deal with. And all of these combos seem to be perfectly on point. And I think that that's really what's allowing them to get so much pressure here in the bot lane. And we see a channel going down. He manages to get it. Oh my gosh. It was so close. I cannot believe that he able to pick that up. Lear was just a tad bit off of not being able to get it. It's early Dragonite. It's not going to get a whole lot of pressure, but it's nice to get those early objectives whenever you can get them for free like that.
Yeah, nice heads-up cap there in the mid. And it looked like Mystic was finally rotating up the top lane to try and get that gank onto Rexar that we wanted. But boy, you look away from that mid just for 1 second and Almost Legends gets the sneaky grab. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, trying to find some sort of isolation onto ETC, but he's got the slide out, and Born to Shine just shooting away with those Qs for the heals. But up in the top lane, Thrall falling to Tribulation up here.
Yeah, I mean, that matchup's always going to be hard. I feel like Thrall's one of those ones can deal with it, but on the wave clear side of things, he doesn't have an advantage. And as long as he's being pressured by minions on top of Rexar damage, that's always going to be a bit of a scary kind of position for him to be in. As I said before, I'd really like to see a lot less focus from the side of Calculated Throw on this bottom lane, because with that Orphea and with that ETC kind of peeling for the Ana on top of that, they're going to find it really difficult to be able to push them out, but they could definitely get a lot more advantage in other lanes if we see a bit more rotations coming out from that Valeria to see if they can catch that Rexar out.
Camp's going to be traded here in the bot.
Looks like he's actually getting onto it too.
Oh, and here he comes, but nice peel.
Good fair, but yeah. It's close. That was still a pretty monk-ass moment for Rexar there.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see more of that as the game goes along and the rotations get a little bit less normalized here. Meanwhile, in the mid, look out. Mystic on top of Hoedown. Going to get him sub 300 health, and that last dash is enough. Mystic getting the kill in mid lane. So we're starting to see the value from Valeera come out a little bit more as this game goes along.
Yeah, that's a scary position for Zul'jin, because Valeera I actually consider somewhat of kind of like a hard counter to Zul'jin, especially if when you got the blind, and if he takes the 13 upgrade blind to his cheap shot, that basically shuts down Zul'jin's damage for a whole 4 seconds after the stun, which is just it's a lot. Eternal Feast being dropped right on top of Scooterman, though. I think he's gonna die. I'm not entirely sure if he's going to get out of here, but Lucio does manage to peel him out. There you go.
Just enough speed to get Scooterman out, but look out! We see the guillotine coming in. Still not quite enough damage to take him out here, but the camp is stolen away, and Almost Legend's going to be looking to push this in hard into the bot lane.
There's not a lot of good counter siege on the side of Calculated Throw, and that makes these camps all the more effective in these situations. I'd like to see him be putting that on top of the backliners rather than on top of ETC, because he would also simultaneously cleared out that wave. Instead, he trades out his souls, and Valeera gets picked off, a 2-for-0 in the bot lane.
Yeah, meanwhile, both have been capped here, and we could end up seeing somebody trying to rotate to mid, but right now, the priority is from Almost Legends onto this bot lane. They know that they've got an advantage with this wave. They know they have just a massive push going. They get through the bottom fort. They're even going to get some nice damage and soften up this bottom keep front wall here.
Again, the pressure being applied by EMSA, especially on that Orphea, is just causing them all kinds of trouble because there's just nowhere they can stand without just taking an absolute massive amount of damage. We do see a smoke bomb being taken by Valera, earthquake from Thrall, sound barrier from Lucio, lightning breath as we saw. Oh, and I think that 2-for-1 wasn't going to go in his favor there. We need to pause. They need to pause.
Yep, they would need to pause if they want to pause. There they go.
And then, of course, Wave of Force wraps it all up at the end for calculated throw.
Yeah, Dragonite captured here. So, meanwhile, on the other side for all, I can't remember if you said Almost Legends.
I hadn't quite gotten to it yet.
All right, well, they have Nano Boost, Eternal Feast, Mosh Pit, Guillotine, and the looks like that is the
Bestial Wrath.
Bestial Wrath, yeah, upgrade to Misha there.
So most Rexar mains I know, at least the ones that have been playing a bit, have been going with boars, but I definitely see the argument here. Bestial Wrath helps him win that upper lane even harder than he has been so far. And that's really kind of what the story of the game is here right now, is that we have Rexar winning the top lane, and we have the 4-man winning the bot lane hard. And if you're losing both the top and the bottom lane, you're generally losing the map.
Yeah, Ektar in chat saying, the value from Valera, gross.
Yeah.
All right, well, you know.
I mean, I personally believe Cloak of Shadows is a broken talent. I don't like Smoke Bomb as much. And especially into the mage damage that they've got from Orphea, you could just kind of eat a whole lot of damage. You could eat a Guillotine. It's 75 spell armor, which means you can just eat almost any major ability in the game without dying. Whereas you only get 30 physical or 30 all-around armor from Smoke Bomb.
All right, so back into the game we go. Valera still down from that pick in the mid, and right now, Almost Legends looking to grow this lead a little bit. The kick is going to come out onto Diablo, going to send him flying, and the mid fort is going to go down. We'll have to see where Almost Legends wants to take this. I'd like to see them rotate bot. They had already softened up that front wall, but it looks like right now they're going to just rotate up and grab the top fort, look to get a little bit more of those occasional catapults rolling possibly, and maybe make Scooty Puff Jr. a little bit less safe in this top lane.
Considering how little damage, and give Thrall some credit here, there hasn't been a lot of damage done to this top lane yet. Considering how little had happened here, I can understand the argument with the Dragon Knight here, but we do see a bit of counter engagement coming out from Scooty Puff Jr. and the rest of the crew trying to get that Dragon Knight down. And they do manage to actually do something really good here. They managed to save that well, which is going to keep Thrall able to contest this lane even longer. Valera dropping the smoke bomb, trying to avoid all of the counter damage that was coming out on top of her. ETC just making life a little bit of a problem, but Mystic does manage to get out there without taking any damage. And we got a bunch of trades, but nothing going down. I would say ult economy, though, is definitely in favor of Almost Legends from them.
Yeah, they've got the level 13 talent tier advantage as well right now. A little bit more than a level lead, not to mention the structure lead, which is heavily in their favor right now. So Almost Legends looking good. What does Calculated Throw need to change here as they head into the back half of this game?
The communication needs to improve. They need to get on the same page. They need to start looking for win conditions, because what they've been doing so far right now is not working. They can't keep going with this Thrall in the top lane and 3 to 4 in the bot lane trying to contest Almost Legends on the map. They need to find other avenues to find picks, kills, use that Valera to apply pressure to Almost Legends and try to get back some of those kills that they've lost so far in the early game.
Yeah, camp stolen away here by Almost Legends in the bot lane. They're going to drop back and pick up their own level 13s now online for Calculated Throw. You almost got to think they need to force something here. Only a level away from 16 are Almost Legends, and if they have level 16 along with this Shrine phase, we could end up seeing them start to run away with this matchup.
And unfortunately, Scooty Puff Jr. did not watch his map and didn't see the rotation coming and ended up getting picked off in the top lane, and that's just making things go from bad to worse for the side of Calculated Throw.
That is a definite oof moment if you are on the side of Calculated Throw. Feels like a punch right in the gut. They are going to go ahead and grab the bottom camp just for a little bit of counter pressure. But now level 16 surely going to be picked up for Almost Legends as they pick up their third fort of the game. And still have a nice push there up in the top lane, but now it looks like they're going to start to rotate, looking to maybe capture this Dragon Knight.
We'll see. They're just going to rotate around the map as 5. I think that's a bit of an adjustment from Almost Legends from A, being ahead, and B, they don't want to give any pick-off opportunities for Valir and those mid lanes. So they're just going to rotate around, catch everything, they want to force Calculated Throw to take a 5-man team fight. And that is the last thing that Calculated Throw wants at the moment.
Especially considering that they had Scooty Puff Jr. kind of going to the top, but they are not able to get any interrupts in there. So they're going to see the Dragon Knight coming out here. And, you know, I didn't realize this before, but they don't get Misha when he's in the Dragon Knight, do they? Feels bad, man.
No. It's not a Cho'Gall moment, unfortunately. Or Vikings.
Sure, Gaul gets to still sit on the Dragon Knight's shoulder, but no bear. I see how it is.
The devs saw that and were just like, nah, that's just OP.
Too OP. We are going to see the rotation to the bot lane this time. Good counter siege damage coming out so far from Calculated Throw, though. They got the Dragon Knight down below a third health right now, as we're going to actually see them step back a little bit and maybe try to adjust and wait out this earthquake.
Yeah, I mean, we're still pretty early into the game, but I think that they could have been a little bit more patient with that Dragon Knight. Cleared up a little bit more, used that Dragon Breath. A lot of people try to rush to get damage done with the Dragon Knight, and you really got, you got a minute and a half time with it. And we do see a pick-off happening to Valir. She tried to pick off Hoedown, considering he was so low from using his trait and, other abilities. But unfortunately, there just wasn't enough damage up front there to be able to actually secure the kill.
All right, we do see level 16s about a half level away now for Calculated Throw. They do lose their bottom keep, but game continues on here. 8-2 on the kill count, though. Almost Legends still rolling pretty well in this matchup. They're going to grab both of these bottom camps and maybe look to rotate around to try and get a little bit of XP, trying to head in towards that level 20 talent tier.
Yeah, I mean, they're almost there. 16. They did lose a bot keep, but that's still not the end. You get a good late game team fight. You get one of those late game Dragon Knights, and you can definitely push into core. But they really got to start finding some ways to get a favorable fight by taking an engagement. They have all the tools they need. They just need to find the heroes. Almost Legends playing well with vision. I mean, Tribulation there might have been slammed by a Diablo, and that could have gone very badly for him, but he does manage to avoid it. And we see an engagement. Eternal Freeze being dropped down, and in counter response, we see the Lightning Breath. Mystic really trying to pressure out that Zul'jin. But with Anna just sitting there plinking away with all those heals, it's going to be very difficult. But the focus here might be on Tribulation. He is way out in Africa. They do manage to kill Demisha. He does feign death to try to stay alive, but I think he is going to go down. I'm not entirely sure what Tribulation was doing all the way out there, but we're going to see 2 kills now coming out to the side of Calculated Throw with that pick off on ETC.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Late game team fights, late game Dragon Knight. Now, there is a bit of pressure down here in the bot lane, but Calculated Throw should be able to rotate in to clean this up. Scooty Puff Jr. already on the case. Both shrines are being rotated to, so it looks like right now Calculated Throw doing what they do best. Good communication, quick rotations, and they're going to pick up a very fast Dragon Knight and look to try and really capitalize off of that 2-for-0 exchange there in the mid.
Yeah, here's the moment you can start to get in. I don't mind him putting a little bit of pressure onto that mid lane until all of his team is ready to go. But we're going to see a quick rotation down to the bot lane. We all identify this as the major win condition, the big lane you want because of all the camps. Now you have to be able to utilize those camps to help push up and get value out of that additionally. And we haven't really been seeing a ton of camp pressure coming out from the side of Calculated Throw. So hopefully this Dragon Knight will open up the lane a bunch and maybe get them enough an advantage where they can actually start cycling camps out as well. And then they can really take advantage of pushing out this lane. We do see Scooty Puff Jr. being way too far ahead of the rest of his team, though. He does get picked off, especially since Valir was in the top lane dealing with the camp. Just a little bit too aggressive to go 5v4 with the Dragon Knight up against that. Dragon Knight doesn't really help you in the team fights and the pickoffs, so you got to be a little bit careful about that.
Meanwhile, the Dragonite under a tremendous amount of pressure here. Monoderp gonna have to get the speed in from Grievant as they run away here. But now, with Thrall down, look out! Mystic is in the middle of this lane. It looks like he's gonna go ahead and rotate away, and Almost Legends actually just focusing on the camp, not really wanting to rotate up to top to try and get Valera there.
I mean, that's the good thing about being a stealther. It was kind of hard to lock you down in those situations. So Almost Legends just like, nah, we'll just make sure that we take care of all the camp control. So despite the fact that they did get the bot port down, they will have some catapults being pushed out there. They did lose the map control with that Thrall death, and now it's 20-18. All the camps are off the map, and things could be a little are looking pretty scary for Calculated Throw. They cannot die here.
Yeah, I like the call from Almost Legends. They're pressuring into mid a little bit. It looks like they're mostly just looking for picks, though, waiting to see if anyone from Calculated Throw steps out too far. Scooty Puff Jr. hitting the root there onto Balalos, but right now it's just kind of defense mode, turtle mode here for Calculated Throw.
Yeah, not much else going down, but there is an opportunity here for Almost Legends, their level 20 talents, to actually stack up a camp push. I like to pull this off a lot because if you get both those camps, or even better, all three camps coming in on the same lane at the same time, that's almost better than a Dragonite. With the amount of pressure that you can apply into the bot lane, you can force the fight that you want with the level 20 advantage, and if you get any kills off of it, you can win the game. And it looks like that's exactly what they're going to do here. They're going to actually try to stack up these camps together, and they're just going to hard push the bot lane. We ended a game not too long ago doing this exact same thing versus who the heck were we playing? I can't remember. But yeah,
some B West team.
Some B West team. Oh, Scooty Pup Jr. getting caught out way too far ahead of this team yet again, and that's going to cost them the kill there. Showdown getting a lot of pressure from Valera. I'd really like to see Valera try to put that pressure onto Born to Shine, though, because Anna is just making sure that he doesn't get any value. And with one pick, maybe two, if Showdown gets this kill on Mystic, it is almost all over for them.
Yeah, they are pushing in deep here. Balalos trying to look for maybe an angle onto a possible mosh pit, but doesn't even need it. They're going to get the kill out onto Diablo, reset his souls. Lucio goes down as well. There's the mosh, but instantly interrupted by that wave of force from Monoderp. But looks like it's too little too late. Diablo goes down, and it's going to be a full team wipe, and we are going to a game number 3.
Yes!
As Almost Legends wins here on Dragonshire.
That's what we were looking for.
We found it. We've got another showdown going to game number 3 here on a Monday night. And let's take a look at the summary screen here for game number 2. Anything standing out to you immediately as we see these stats pop up?
Orphea did a lot of work. Like I said before, Emso was playing that really well. I really enjoyed the way he was able to just get good trades without taking a lot of counter damage. And Valera was really marginalized in this matchup, and I think that had a lot to do with the fact that the engagements were really never coming out from the front line of Calculated Throw, and they weren't able to get any pickoffs onto Ana. And Ana just was able to keep anyone that they did manage to get some good damage onto alive throughout most of the situations. So I think Orphea and Ana made a big impact in this.
All right, so going into game number 3, I want to do a little, what would you do, Ziltoid? If you are sitting there, you are Calculated Throw, and you just lost this game number 2, are you first pick, map pick, and what adjustments are you making here for this final game 3?
They were map pick that time, right? Calculated
yes.
Throw?
Yes.
Okay. So they came in with a bit of a plan. If you're taking a map, generally you're looking to your goal is to play as a specific draft that you've practiced or something that you're doing. So who is map pick now?
I don't know. They'll have to decide here.
I'm
Calculated
assuming
Throw
if
gets
Mystic
to decide.
is I'm assuming if Mystic is hosting it, and it's Alterac Pass, which is where we're going.
Well, there you go. We got it.
So this will be their choice. So I like this. I like the fact that they're taking it to a map again that they know, that they understand, that they have a draft that they can. It didn't work out that time. That's perfectly fine. Don't be discouraged. If you practice something and you know you're good at it, go for it. And so I think they just need to make sure that they get the drafts that they're looking for yet again, and look to apply that pressure. Now, Alterac Pass is another macro map. And I need to see better macro play coming out from Calculated Throw.
Yeah, and it seemed like that they were so on the same page and so efficient in their rotations in game number 1. That game, they seemed like they maybe were a little bit more out of sync, struggling a little bit more to find those picks that they wanted with that Valera comp. They found a couple, but not quite enough to be able to turn the match their way.
Yeah, the 4v4 was in favor of Almost Legends throughout most of the game. A lot to do with that Orphea Ana combo. And because that was the situation, they needed to make an adjustment with their composition to apply pressure somewhere else on the map, and they were just unable to make those calls. And if we can see that adjustment from Calculated Throw, like we saw, like you said, in game 1, I think this will be a much better match for them.
All right, so looking at Alterac Pass specifically, we see this, as a kind of another shift to a map objective where you spend a lot of time in the same area doing a lot of team fighting. What heroes do you really like to prioritize on this map?
Well, I'm pretty much convinced that Sylvanas is probably the strongest hero you could draft on this map. Mm-hmm. The reason is that if you take Mercenary Queen at 4, and you push down the mid lane, those camps with 60%, it has a 20 armor debuff from the camp.
Yeah,
and you're doing 60% more damage. Plus, you can turn off the structures. So one of my favorite strategies is and it's also on a ridiculously low cooldown. It's 1.5 minutes each time you get one of those camps. Yeah. So if you're just cycling camps through that mid lane and you have a Sylvanas, the enemy team has to respond to you, and you can take that mid fort in the first 2 minutes of the game.
Yeah, not to mention that it's good counter to the opponent doing that as well. When you take Merc Queen, you can also shut down the opponent's camps. You can basically do 2 or 3 if you're really good at it at a time, keeping those shut down without even using trait. So, yes, I watched that Ryokai video too, but...
But yeah, so I like Sylvanas, but again, this is a macro map. Objectives can be stalled. They can be manipulated to when you want it, and where you can get the best advantage out of it. And the camp cycling is one of those really, subtle aspects of this map that if used properly can be very good. So anyone that's good at getting camps, it's a big map, so you need laners as well. So generally you need like an off laner, and you need an assassin potentially that can handle the other lane, while you have your 3-man handle the mid lane and deal with the mid camp. So I'd like to see some wave clear assassins and some strong off laners.
All right, so we did see Calculated Throw picking the map here. Almost Legends with first pick, first ban, and that is not one that you see every day. Junkrat going to be taken out of this map.
Well, like I said, you want wave clear, and Junkrat is fantastic at wave clear. He's also really good about bouncing around to big maps, and he's really good at delaying the shrine. So I like that ban from Almost Legends. I think that's a really smart ban from him.
Meanwhile, Thrall going to be the first pick here, so EMSA wanting to steal that away this time around, not wanting to see Scooty Puff Jr. make a third appearance here on Thrall.
So EMSA is the mage player for Almost Legends, and so that might be a 4-man Thrall. But like I said, drafting heroes that are good in lane for your kind of like your main or one of your main assassin slots is exactly one of those, is an example of that. So I like the pick with Thrall, and Johanna Chromie, very nice pickup. Chromie is very powerful in this map because of delay. She's got wave clear now, and she has camp clear now. So she ticks a lot of those boxes that I like to see on this map.
Yeah, and this is going to be my first view at reworked Chromie here in the Nexus Gaming series. I don't know if it's the first one picked, but it's the first one that I'm seeing. So I'll be very interested to see what Mystic's got for us here. And Ana and Diablo coming out once again from Almost Legends. So they're gonna get, you know, yet again another strong frontline tank. Not the ETC that was banned out, first banned this time from Calculated Throw, but still Diablo, very strong frontline. And that Ana working really well for them in game number 2. They're going to bring it back here for game 3.
Yeah, strong pickup. We do see the Orphea ban. Like I said, that Ana Orphea or combo was really causing them issues in the last game. And she would still be very strong on this map too as well. Now, EMSA, I think, is their Orphea player, but maybe Showdown also plays it. We'll have to see. You know, it might have been a valuable ban regardless. And then Falstad, again, this is Almost Legends understanding the map quite a bit. Falstad does get a lot of value on this map. Gust can be an effective tool. He can lane and then show up to objectives when needed. You know, and his camp clear is not too bad. So, like, it's a good ban.
By the way, I want to give a quick shout out to Selexia. Multiple cheers in the chat, as well as the tier 1 sub gifted to Nara2 and another one gifted to Ronan. So thank you very much, Selexia. Unfortunately, we haven't set up the alerts here for individual broadcasts onto the channels, but we see you. Thank you very much for the support. And back in the draft, Rexar going to come out again here for Tribulations.
Yeah, I really like the Rexar, and we got Phoenix. Phoenix Throw is actually a pretty good combo because Earthquake and Purification Salvo is a really good combo. And again, all of these guys can camp and clear, so a pretty solid draft, I think, coming out from Legends. And we do see the Leoric Cassia. I'm always been a big fan of Leoric. It's a good combo with Johanna, especially as you get into the mid-late game. He can apply a lot of pressure. Cassia, I'm not as sold on. I think it's an okay pick if you got a good Cassia player. And it might be okay into this draft, but I don't like it as much as I'd like other options.
Whitemane going to be the healer here for Calculated Throw. Going to round out this draft, and yeah, very interesting. This is not a combination of heroes that I would normally expect to see, but I do think it ticks a lot of those boxes that you had mentioned before. Good strong front line for zoning, quite a lot of damage, and particularly poke damage for these objectives. And Whitemane going to be able to kind of burst heal in case any of these combos come out from the high amount of CC that Almost Legends has over on their side.
I mean, the one thing you could say about the Cassia, though, is there's a lot of main from the side of Almost Legends, and Cassia typically does okay into melee, but conversely, she doesn't do so great into CC, which they also have a lot of. So I'm not as sold on the Calculated Throw draft as I am on Almost Legends draft on this map.
All right, well, only one way to find out, ladies and gentlemen. We are moving on in to game number 3 here. On the left, we're going to have Calculated Throw. It is going to be Mona Derp playing that Cassia. Scooterman going to be on the Johanna. Scooty Puff Jr. on the Leoric. Mystic playing the Chromie. And Grievement going to be playing Whitemane.
And on the red side, we have Almost Legends looking to clean it up and finish it out with a reverse sweep. We have EMSA on the Thrall, Bellolos on Diablo, Born to Shine on Ana, Tribulation on Rexar, and Showdown on the Phoenix.
All right, so both teams going to go ahead and rotate on into the mid. Mid being the priority lane here for most teams on this map, with those just massively strong camps that you mentioned that'll spawn right at the 1 minute mark. That low cooldown, so both teams going to make sure that nobody gets too much pressure here in the mid. But it looks like Rexar are going to rotate nice and early down to the bot lane, where he'll eventually meet up with that Leoric.
Yeah, I mean, this mid fight only favors Calculated Throw, as it's going to allow Chromie to get the stack she needs to get that next level of damage that she gets from clones. So, and he did take the level 1 talent that with 40 stacks, he gets a third sand clone, which increases his damage by another like 30%. So it's a pretty massive amount. So yeah, everyone is now split into the lanes, but I'm not liking how slow everyone is rotating the camp.
Yeah, Ziltoid always going to make sure he's trying to help these teams clean up and be as efficient as possible, but it doesn't look like Showdown and Born to Shine are headed there for the members of Almost Legends, so they're going to go ahead and strike first here on the camp grab.
I feel like some people feel like getting the camp after the other guys get the camp might help you defend it a little bit better, but then it also isn't going to push as well because it's going to take some damage when you get there. I think getting on cooldown and rotating out fast is always the better play. So Almost Legends, I already think has a slight lead here with their focus on getting that nice and early.
Oh yeah, and I really think the big factor is just making sure that you actually push with it. I feel like it clears itself. It gets cleared out faster because a lot of teams just don't push with it hard enough. You really have to be able to defend the camp and make sure that that it is pushing in. And look at this push, nice and early here. It's going to get to the front wall, and it's only Scooter Man here to clean it up. So you mentioned it, the slightly slow rotation here from Calculated Throw, especially with the fact that their camp clear not quite as fast as Almost Legends has with that Phoenix. They get a good amount of damage on this front wall to start this matchup off.
And if we'd had a rotation up from the bottom from Rexar after he cleared the wave, both those towers would be dead, and that would have been pretty cool, nice to see. But they did almost get a full wall out of that camp, and that's the strength that I'm talking about. That you can't underestimate the 20 armor debuff from these camps. They do so much to structures because it applies to structures, which is just mind-blowing.
Right. It seems like maybe that's a little bit extra powerful that maybe it shouldn't have, but either way, you know, the bosses are so bad, it kind of makes up for it on this map, so we'll go ahead and take it.
Exactly. So objective is ready to go. I'd like to see, again, a bit of focus more on macro. You don't have to go for that early channel. And even if you do get a bit of a channel, you don't have to full commit to it. You can still play the lanes, you can still play the macro. But we'll see a rotation coming down, and I like Almost Legends. They are almost, no! It looks like they were moving towards the camp. If you have that camp pushing out in the middle of these phases, it's going to push up on the enemy team side, and that safety goes away. We see a nice little aggression, though, coming out on top of Scooter Man. He is back onto that Johanna, and we saw some wonderful play on that hero from him in game number 1. He ate a lot of damage, but managed to walk away. But with that health bars getting so low, I think we're going to see a possible channel here. But they are coming right back in. Belalos is in a bit of position. He's getting body blocked a bit by the Leoric. But the Spooky Hand didn't land on him. He was actually trying to land it on the Ana and missed. So unfortunately, they weren't able to actually get that pick off. I think if Scooty Pep Jr.'s body blocked him and actually landed that Spooky Hand on Diablo, he was dead.
So right now, 0-0 on the kill count. Still looking for somebody to grab first blood in this matchup as we get to level 7 on both sides. And it looks like both teams are starting to posture towards trying to push into the other side. But a little bit of a CC coming out, but Tribulation going to be attacked on the back end of that and taken down to about half health. Spooky Hand does connect from Scooty Pup Jr. as EMSA coming down on the flank. It's a nice route on the other side, and it looks like Calculated Throw going to have to back up a little bit here.
This is really seesawing back and forth on this objective contest. And both teams are still like throwing heroes into the mid and upper lane to make sure that they're catching that soak. And I like that play from them. No one's overcommitting to the objective, and they're trying to make sure they're staying nice and even. And we see the rotation from Almost Legends onto the camp. I like this play. They have the ability to stall. Even if they get a slight channel onto it, that pressure is going to build up in the mid lane. I think this is a really good play coming out from the side, although he's probably going to need help. He is trying to solo that camp himself.
Nah, I think he's got it.
We see a bit of an objective fight happening too as well. Almost Legends actually being aggressive while having Phoenix split. I think they went and aggressed once they saw Leoric was out, and it looks like Scooter Man is getting a half health damage, and a little bit of the same happening to Belalos. He's actually in a bit of a tight spot. Spooky Hand does miss again, and he does manage to get the charge out onto Scooty Pup Jr. to actually get himself out. Pretty good play by Belalos there. He was in a bit of a tight spot.
Yeah, I think Scooty Puff hits that spooky hand, and maybe they get enough damage for Balalos to go down there. But you mentioned it, that camp in mid is going to start pushing now. Still very high health, and so we're actually going to see Leoric rotating to have to defend that. Meanwhile, Almost Legends actually going down to the bot here. Going to clean this up and rotate on back up now. So,
oh no, Leoric did not take Neil Peasants at level 4, so that mid camp clear for Leoric is going to be super slow. And yeah, Almost Legends take that advantage. It's actually still pushing in the mid lane while the fight's going down. Scooterman is getting him below. He has no mana and almost no health. He does pop a trait to tank through a little bit. Belos, on the other hand, is also getting very low, but now Scooty Puff Jr. against the wall does get popped. He does go down. They do kill Misha as a counter, and I think they're just going to trade blows here, but in the end, I feel like the advantage is slightly in favor of Almost Legends. Leoric for Misha, I think, is still a bit to their advantage. That full front wall and well is completely gone.
Yeah, both teams also approaching level 10 here. Bit of an advantage from Almost Legends, really, for the most part, off the heels of that one kill. They get just a tiny bit of extra XP right now, and both teams desperately rotating around, trying to get some soak to get to that level 10, and it looks like we're going to see Almost Legends pick it up right here.
And we do see 34 stacks from Chromie. So these objective fights are still going to get pretty scary for Almost Legends. I just noticed that Diablo did not go the Spell Shield, and I generally would recommend that into your Chromie, as if you take Spell Shield, the amount of damage that she's dishing out is going to be significantly reduced. But we see the engagement happening. Earthquake does go down, followed up with an APOC plus a Purification Salvo, and that's probably going to kill the Leoric, and the Motor Derp is also going to go down too as well. Cassie getting caught out in that fight, and Mystic, Grievant barely escaped with their lives, and I don't think Scooterman's going to do it. He's got nothing left in the tank, and that's going to be a 3-for-0 trade. That combo definitely netting value for the side of Almost Legend.
Yeah, kind of old school with the Lightning Breath and the Earthquake, both applying those slows, really giving Purification Salvo a nice boost for Almost Legends. But yeah, that's 3 of the heroics. The other 2 are going to be the Summon Boars, also applying slows, along with that nano boost here for Almost Legends, as their camps, or their objectives, I should say, starting to push in every lane. They're going to split up, and they're going to soak every lane. But meanwhile, on the other side, here comes the Valkyrie coming in. They've got Emsa trapped, and Time warps him back, even throwing down the Entomb. Emsa trying to make it out. That's going to be the first kill of the game, going over to Calculated Throw, as they have the nice defense in the mid lane.
Yeah, that was a nice pick-off for Emsa. Unfortunately, because they weren't split into other lanes, they're going to lose 2 force in other lanes for this. That trickle experience will add up for sure. And mid lane being half fort, if they do get any mid-camp rotations from Almost Legends, that's not going to stand there very much longer either. And all 3 forts going down for the side, or, well, 2 forts in this phase going down on the side of Calculated Throw for that pickoff.
Yeah, and Tribulations with the quick rotation here, too, could end up putting a little bit more pressure on the mid, but here comes the rotation out from Calculated Throw. They're going to go ahead and clean up this mid while they've got Chromie clearing in the top, but you mentioned it, Almost Legends right on top of this siege camp, ready to start it as soon as that map objective went down there.
And I'd like to see them focusing, and they've been doing it all, and that's definitely been netting them quite a bit of advantage so far. We do see Calculated Throw getting theirs on cycle much faster this time, and that might help them defend this a little bit harder, considering this camp is a bit slow. They clear out this wave, they push out that mid wave, and I think the camp from Almost Legends might do a little bit less work. We do see a rotation coming down onto Leoric. He might be able to ghost walk away, but I think the slow and the root is good.
Yeah, nice pick coming out from Almost Legends. Their rotations have been really on point this game. We see both camps going to go back and forth in the mid. Scooterman going to go ahead and help Calculated Throws wave went out there, but meanwhile, with the lanes pushed out so far and Leoric not being alive, Almost Legends feels confident enough to go ahead and look to grab this camp. The rotation is coming in from Calculated Throw, but it looks like it might be just a bit too late here.
It is very close thing. They really got to get in here, but there's so many slows and stuns and ways to stop this. But we do see Johanna gets on top of the boss and almost secures it. But because of the compromised position that the calculated throw had to get into, it's going to be 4 for, I think, 5 for nothing trade. Not worth.
10-1 now on the kill counter, and Almost Legends wasn't winning just a massive team fight there. And we are going to see as well the map objective popping in the top lane, but Calculated Throws members with all of them down here. We're just going to see Almost Legends rotate in here to the bot along with this boss, and they're going to go ahead and take themselves a nice win here in the bot lane, getting the front wall down and maybe looking to pressure keep.
Yeah, this should take the keep. I mean, if we saw a bunch of pressure, but it looks like they're just going to go for the mid camp, which I'm not necessarily 100% against. I do feel like the mid camp does more work than the bosses tend to, but I really do feel like they still could have got that keep there. No problem.
Yeah, they do get the map objective capped, though. Rexar doing a nice job grabbing that, and it looks like it's going to be a pretty much free set of raiders coming out here for the members of Almost Legends, and in a completely off-topic point for the Horde.
For the Horde. So level 16's coming in for the side of Almost Legends. And that's going to be, 16 push, weak bottom keep, objective spawn. This is getting pretty scary for the side of Calculated Throw.
I like them taking out these sidewalls. Going to limit the vision potential for Calculated Throw as well. They don't really have anywhere to push. They just want to wait for these raiders to rotate out in these lanes. Looks like they're going to poise for top, though. Meanwhile, we do see Monoderp trying to push out that bottom lane a little bit, but should be pretty easy to grab themselves at least a keep or two as they try and head in towards setting up some win conditions for later in the game.
Yeah, so 5-man push in the top lane. They're going to see if they can get as much out of this can. If Valkyrie going down plus Tomb on top of Thrall, and it's actually going to pop him right there. He's going to go down. Born to Shine barely gets out with her life, and we're going to see this push probably be kind of neutered a bit with those 2 kills on Misha and now 2 actual kills on Anna, Thrall, and of course Misha going down. Bot keep is going to get down, so they are going to get something out of this, but also losing souls is going to be a pretty rough kind of. That wasn't a push that they were looking for on the side of Almost Legends.
No, that was exactly what the doctor ordered here for Calculated Throw. They're able to clean up these lanes. They only lose 1 of their keeps, but most importantly, they are now at the level 16 talent tier. They got a nice boost of XP from winning that team fight and getting those picks against Almost Legends, which was 3 levels up at that point. And now they're going to have that same talent tier to try and fight with here.
Absolutely. But Almost Legends recovering, seeing if they can get some minion soak and get those souls built back up on Diablo, because it's going to be pretty hard to push in without him getting some of that back here before the next objective. But they are going to rotate up and see if they can snag another boss. Leoric might be able to scout this out, and it might be a good opportunity for Calculated Throw to get back into this game, because they're going to need to be able to put pressure out there. But as you said before, this thing goes down pretty fast. There's quite a bit of damage here, a lot of boss clear. The rotation is coming, but I don't know if it's going to be fast enough.
Well, yeah, and you see EMSA already positioned out here, ready to throw out that Earthquake, and there it is. The Earthquake is going to go down. Savo to follow it up. No healing going to come in for Whitemane, and that's just a rough moment. Scooty Puff Jr. trying to zone people out with the Entomb, but they're on the chase here. They're going to pick up the kill onto Scooterman. Scooty Puff Jr. going to try and Wraith Walk away, but it's a no-go, and that is going to be a very quick 3-0 for Almost Legends, as once again, Calculated Throw stepping out a little bit too far. They're trying to make something happen as the boss was being capped there by Almost Legends.
Yeah, this is a very scary situation. They got kill on Mono Derp here. I think this is the end of the game. We do have the bottom keep already gone. Top keep's just about to go down. We still have 4 members not up yet, and a more than half health boss. This is a very scary moment for the side of Calculated Throw, and I just don't think there's a whole lot left in the tank to be able to deal with all this pressure.
Yeah, Mystic trying to throw out some damage, trying to make something happen here. But I think it's just a matter of them hitting the core right now. We are seeing him Whirlwind dealing quite a lot of damage, but look out, the damage coming out heavy, but just a little bit too much for them to have to clean up there. And Almost Legends going to go ahead and finish out their reverse sweep, and they're going to take this series 2-1 over Calculated Throw.
Yeah, it looks like in the end, it was Almost Legends that had the upper hand in the draft, and they played to the strengths of the draft very, very well. But unfortunately, guys, I've got a bit of an emergency to deal with here at home, so I'm going to have to bow out for the rest of the evening. Thank you for having me on the show. I do appreciate it.
No problem, Ziltoid. Family aggro is what it is. You go deal with that, man. Thanks for coming on.
No problem. Have a good one.
All right, well, that is going to be our match for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight and watching. We're going to take just a quick break here as we reset things, and you see me also talking on the other side of the screen here. But if I could just find where that is, that would help. There we go. Boom. All right. So no stats. No Ziltoid, but we could still get an interview in with these guys. So give me just 1 minute to go ahead and set that up. And we'll be right back with our winner's interview here with Almost Legends. All right, we are back, and we are joined by team captain for... oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I actually got the wrong one in here. Feels bad, man.
That's all right.
Be right back.
Love it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here with team captains for the members of Almost Legends. We've got Balalos and Born to Shine. Congratulations on the win, guys. How are you guys feeling after that epic matchup here?
Pretty good.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
feeling
pretty
good.
Not so much after game 1, but
Yeah.
games 2 and 3 definitely went better.
Well, I'll tell you what. We'll get the hard part out of the way first. Let's go ahead and talk about that game number 1. So we saw a little bit of an interesting decision in terms of the frontline bans and then Scooter Man picking up the Johanna off the heels of those bans. Do you guys wish maybe you had let one of those tanks through to allow yourself to get a stronger front line, or was the Arthas kind of what you were going for there?
Arthas was kind of like, well, we lost Joe. So,
yeah.
I mean, there was Muradin. We just kind of figured we would use the Blaze as the engage and the Arthas to try to keep them there, but it just didn't work out.
All right, so then as we went into game number 2, a little bit of a different pickup there. You guys started with Rexar right out the gate. How do you guys feel like Rexar is doing in the meta right now? Is it just kind of a Dragonshire pick, or is it something you guys like to play everywhere?
We just showed we can play it anywhere. I think he's very powerful in the meta. You gotta pick your spots with him, and we didn't feel like it was dealt with very well in game 2, so we're like, why not for game 3?
Yeah, you guys basically came out with similar comps in 2 and 3. A couple changes here or there, but one thing I wanted to talk about, of course, while we got born here, was the Ana play. Seemed like a lot of those grenades made a big difference. How you guys feeling on Ana, and was there anything that you liked or didn't like about those game 2 and 3 with the Ana play?
I mean, I've definitely been playing with her a lot. She didn't used to be one of my strongest healers. You actually have to be able to land your sleeps and your heals. So it took me a little while to get used to that with my team. But I definitely like her rework, and I think we're doing pretty well with her. It's a lot of fun to play. I just, you really need to be careful with your positioning with her because she has no escape.
All right, and after what was a pretty epic game 1, game 2, we go into game 3. Alterac Pass are one of our newer maps here, in not only in HOTS but in the NGS rotation. What do you guys usually like to prioritize on this map in terms of trying to balance the team fights with the macro play?
I don't know that we've had that much experience on this map ourselves to really have like a solid answer. I don't know that we've necessarily run the same comp twice on there or anything. Do you remember off the top of your head, Belle?
We've played it 3 times. I think it's been 3 totally different comps. The only consistency being Diablo, I believe.
Well, there you go. Diablo really strong on that front line and being able to zone off. And you guys seemed like you guys just had a really good handle on that map overall. Just good rotations, good team fighting all around. What were the comms like as you guys were heading in for that final team fight? Were you super confident going in for that last push to the core?
I would say so. I mean, looking at our health bars, they had 4 people down, I think, dead at the time. So we went for it, and then we were able to kill Leoric that last time there and kind of solidify, like, okay, this is the final push. Go, go, go. We can do this.
All right. Well, that's pretty much all the questions I had for you guys. I thought that it was a very entertaining and evenly faced match, or evenly balanced matchup between the two teams. So, but before we let you go, are there any shout-outs you guys would like to make?
I think the first thing we need to do is say thanks, CT, for the great games. You definitely handed us our rear end in game 1. The roots from Jaina kind of negated a lot of stuff we wanted to do.
Yep.
And it was a huge difference maker. So that was well done indeed. Game 2 could have gone either way, but either way, we think it was very fun and very competitive. Also, well done to the team. We kept it together. For some reason, we can't stop losing game 1. But I think it just motivates us to get it back together and pull together and get the reverse sweep.
All right. Well,
thank you guys for having us.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Showdown. Thanks.
It was a
Coach
really
Ripper,
good showdown match.
Edie.
For sure. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
We can't forget, we always forget Coach Ripper. He's done a great job with me personally. DD Cat, who made just a big difference taking the load off of me. I appreciate what she does coming in as the manager. It just really helped. So those two are a vital part of what we do as Almost Legends, and they deserve a lot of credit. Mega, Jeff, our subs, they have stepped up big time when it's been needed and helped us get where we are in the standings this season. So thank you to all of them.
Yeah, and you guys are actually about to head into the playoffs. Are you guys? How are you guys feeling moving as we move into those playoffs? Do you guys feel confident in your spots, or are there any teams in particular that you're worried about?
I just don't think there's a really. I don't know, worried's the word, but if you look up and down, it's a very strong division. Cannot talk. Division, and I just don't think there's going to be an easy path to the East Finals in representing the East. The 2-3 matchup could be interesting depending on who ends up where, just because each of the top 3 teams have beat each other one way or another. So the 2-3 matchup will be highly, highly competitive. We'll just have to see who ends up 2 and 3.
Yeah, I'll be very interested to see how that comes out as we head into playoffs next week. Hard to believe that we've already made it through an entire season, but thank you guys very much for the for coming in and doing the interview, and great matchup tonight. It was an excellent match to be able to cast, and go back and enjoy it with your team. You both earned it.
Thank you.
We will.
All right,
Good
have
night.
a good night.
Good night.
All right, well, that's going to do it for me on this channel, guys. We're actually going to be jumping over in just a moment to Mongoose's channel. We've got a Division B East match that I'm going to hop on to cast alongside him. So you guys will see me in just a few moments, but we're going to go ahead and close it out here on this channel. A couple of shout-outs I want to make before I go, though. First of all, thank you very much to everybody in the NGS community. It's been so much fun being able to run and cast for these showdowns, being able to feature all of these amazing teams and amazing players, especially tonight. What a matchup this was. If you guys want to support NGS, follow this channel, subscribe to this channel. We'll be putting all of our grand finals matches here, along with all of our highlighted showdown matches. The meat hall is also here, so this is going to be your main Twitch channel for NGS content. We're also usually hosting other NGS casters when they're casting matches, so feel free to look out for that. But also, if you guys want to support the NGS channel, don't forget to check out our Patreon. The NGS Patreon's got quite a lot of really cool rewards, so head on over there, check out all the different tiers of things that you can look to pick up, and also don't forget to check out our NGS YouTube channel. We've got that revamped this season. It's looking really crisp. If I do say so myself, I've been working hard on that, and we'll of course have this match on the NGS YouTube channel in just a little while later tonight, so you guys will be able to watch this match back in case you missed any of it, or you want to watch it again later, along with all of our other NGS content, including a new Nexus Edge episode that came out just this afternoon, so you guys can check that out over there. And I think that's it for me, guys. Thank you all for coming out tonight, and for the Nexus Gaming series, I am Jayzon, and we will see you guys in just a bit over on Mongoose's channel. Thanks for watching.